It's Cinema Shogun here, and on Friday night, a U.S. military aircraft crashed into the Mediterranean Sea. Now, as I've been reporting to you all, that's where we have a lot of our ships right now because of the war over in Israel and Gaza. So we got a lot of U.S. military personnel floating out in the middle of the Mediterranean right now. So when I saw that news, I got really scared. I was like, oh shit. Here we go. Here we go. This is it. They've shot down a plane and now we're going to war. But reportedly, there was no foul play here. This was not an enemy attack. This was a technical difficulty, something along those lines. They haven't been really transparent about what happened. All we knew for a couple of days was that a U.S. military plane, crashed in the Mediterranean. Well, now today they have revealed that 5 American service members were killed during this crash, and it was during a air-to-air refueling. So a very scary situation. But there's really no bright side to something like this. But I guess if there has to be, the bright side would be that this was some type of accident. And luckily, at least this is what's being reported, this aircraft was not shot down. Now, I was worried there for a while because there was very little information coming out. And part of me wonders, if an aircraft was shot down, would America be honest about it? Because I know the U.S. has been really late on reporting these attacks on U.S. bases in Syria and Iraq. It's like they give you an update every couple of days. Oh, now there's been 40 attacks. Now there's 50 U.S. soldiers injured. But in reality, the number's higher. They're just taking their sweet time reporting on this stuff. But as of right now, all we know is that there was an accident and that 5 U.S. soldiers were killed during this accident. But if it wasn't for the conflict over in Gaza, I think maybe it would be safe to assume that this would have never have happened because these soldiers wouldn't even be in the area. So in a way, it's almost as if America has already suffered 5 casualties. It's almost as if America has already lost 5 soldiers to this war, and the fighting hasn't even begun yet. But speaking of the fighting, as I've been reporting to you all, Israel has successfully divided Gaza. They pushed right through the middle of Gaza, and they made it all the way to the ocean. And Hamas was not putting up the fight that they expected, although there was a lot of tricky stuff going on, ambushes and you name it. Now, over the past couple of days, there have been intense firefights, intense fighting around I think it's the Al-Shifa hospital. So that's been going on for a couple of days now, probably some of the most intense fighting that we've seen. It's almost as if these hospitals are kind of like forts. I don't know what's going on, but there seems to be a lot of Hamas activity around these hospitals. So the fighting is ongoing there. But another development that is very concerning is that Israel has now started dropping off these leaflets from the sky. They started dropping them off in Lebanese towns near the border of Israel. These pamphlets, or these leaflets, say, the actions of the terrorist organization Hezbollah push the IDF to act against it in the area where you live. For your safety, you must evacuate your homes immediately. The IDF does not want to harm you. Anyone who is near terrorist or Hezbollah facilities puts his life in danger. A house that will be used by terrorist organizations will be attacked. So it looks as if Israel is going to start ramping up their attacks in Lebanon, which, I mean, at some point, this is just going to blow over into a full-scale war with Lebanon. I really don't like the way things are worded these days. Like, we'll have literally two countries fighting each other, dropping bombs, shooting missiles, you name it, but they don't want to call it a war. They don't want to acknowledge what it is. Well, Hezbollah and the IDF and Israel, they've been fighting back and forth for weeks now. For weeks. But now it looks like it's going to get even worse. And the fact that they're telling these people to evacuate lets you know that they're going to strike deeper and deeper into Lebanon. And the deeper they strike, the worse the situation is going to get. So I would expect that within the next couple of weeks, we'll have full-blown war in Lebanon as well. And, that's not the worst case scenario, because there are other groups that I thought would have gotten involved by now that haven't, yet they have been active against American forces. But as we're talking about this war in Israel and in Gaza and in Lebanon, it's important to note that this war knows no borders. This war knows no borders. This war is not just being fought in the Middle East. This war is being fought all across the world. There has been violent acts committed against various groups of people throughout the world because of this conflict. And now, over in Canada, for the third time this week, from what I'm hearing, there was a shooting in a Canadian Jewish school. Montreal police are investigating a third incident of shots fired at a Jewish school within a week. The shots were reported at Yeshiva Jadallah on Sunday at around 5 a.m. Bullet impact marks were found on the building along with shell casings nearby. No injuries were reported. There was a previous incident on Monday when a West Island synagogue and Jewish community center were targeted with Molotov cocktails. So, out here in Canada, and this is happening in America, England, you name it, but in Canada, just within the last couple of weeks, or just this week alone, there's been 3 attacks on this one Jewish school. Now, the signs are there. The warnings are there. Luckily, these attacks have been happening after school is out. So someone will just drive by and unload shots into the school. Like I said, though, the signs and the warnings are there. Obviously, something bad is going to happen. And I think this needs to be taken very seriously. But unfortunately, we live in 2023. We live in the age of wokeness, where police can't do their jobs. And, maybe thinking it's bad for a Muslim to shoot shots into a Jewish school, that's considered bigoted and racist. So people are afraid to do their jobs. People are afraid to stop the violence because people are completely bitch-made in today's day and age, if you want me to just be honest. But something's got to give. Regardless of what's happening in Israel and in Gaza, these events, these random violent events, these protests and these riots that are sparking throughout the rest of the world, I don't think it's going to lead to any good. For one, it's not changing a damn thing in Gaza. All it's doing is it's exporting this hate around the world. The hatred that the Jewish people in Israel have for the Palestinians and the hatred that the Palestinians have for the people in Israel, that hatred is being exported across the world, and people are eagerly accepting it into their hearts. People cannot wait to hate one side or the other, and I refuse to be dragged into that hate-filled mob. Let me know your thoughts about all of this, though, down in the comments below. If you're feeling generous, you could drop a super thanks to support the channel, because YouTube definitely has not been supporting the channel lately. But while you're down there, hit that thumbs up, hit that subscribe, ring that notification bell, and I'll talk to you all soon in the next video.